Okay, so you all can see my iPad screen for right now. So a couple things. I want to start by showing how you can save images. So if you were doing some kind of research or you wanted to find an image, so I just have the Wilson web resources page, and you can, any of the schools have your web resources page. So I'm just going to open up Pics for Learning, which is a copyright-friendly education site that is great for some basic images if your students are doing anything. So when they can either search or use any of the options. To save an image that you find on your iPad, what you would do is you would basically you're going to press and hold with your finger on the image. So, and if you press and hold, eventually this menu that you see here is going to pop up. And you have a couple different options, but if you just click on Save Image, now that image is in your camera roll. So if I were to go into my Photos app, you'll see that I now have that image of the giraffe saved in my camera roll. So this is nice because now I can use this for inserting into other projects. The same thing can be done with a screenshot. So let's say the students were working in an app that maybe didn't have something for them to submit. So they were building, something in a math app here, and then, maybe they and you wanted them to take a screenshot of this to send to you, via Seesaw or some other platform. What you can do to take a screenshot is you're going to press the home circle and the power button at the same time. So you're going to press and hold it and then release it. You'll hear a little click, and then in the corner you'll get a preview of that screenshot you just took. Once that little preview disappears, now again, if I go back into my Photos app, I see that I have that image saved. And then they could insert that, via Seesaw to you as a teacher so you could see what they were working on. Another thing that you can do, a lot of times teachers like using QR codes and having the kids scan them, maybe to listen to a story, read a book, access a website for quick links. There are apps that will scan a QR code, but iPads now have the ability, if you just open up the camera and you hold it in front of a QR code without even taking a picture, you'll see at the top of that screen, it says website QR code and then open in Safari. So I could click that little banner and it's going to take me to whatever website is linked in that QR code. In this case, it was a story, so I could then, listen to the story. Making sure that if you are using video or YouTube videos that you are watching them and approving them because those need to be approved in the domain. So that's just a shortcut for QR codes without having to have a separate app, just using the camera, opening up the camera, and then holding the camera in front of the QR code. Another thing that happens is when you're in Safari, you might end up with a lot of tabs, especially, I know, like Math Seeds. Every time you launch the app through Clever, it like opens up a new tab, and all of a sudden you have all these different tabs in Safari open. And I could sit here and I could, hit the X on each one, but if they haven't been closed in a while, there's a shortcut to close all of the all the tabs at one time. So in the upper right corner, you see the little squares. And if I just press that, I can see all of my open tabs. And again, I could individually click any of these X's to close one of them. But what I want to do is I want to be able to close all of them at once. So I'm going to press and hold on that little square icon until I get this pop-up menu. And I have the option to close just this tab, or it's giving me the option to close all 12 of my tabs. So I can click close all 12 tabs. It's going to say, are you sure? And then all those tabs are closed at once. So this is kind of an easier management system because, again, a lot of times, depending on what apps you're using, your students end up with so many Safari tabs open of the same thing, and then it can start slowing down the iPad. So you can just press and hold, and then you would have the option to close all of your tabs at once. Any questions on any of those tips before we start looking at the app? So then the app I want to show today is called the ChatterPics is the common name. There is the full ChatterPics app, but then there's also a ChatterKid or ChatterKids app that I recommend using the kid version because it takes out all of the social media aspects of the regular version. So it's just a little more safer and secure for younger students. So it can be pushed out by contacting Chris Raisbeck if you don't already have it on your iPads. But I'm going to open it up. And like I said, it's a fairly easy to use app, but it can be kind of fun. So something like if you wanted the kids to do a project or kind of explain something for those younger students, what it does is it takes any photo and it basically kind of makes the photo talk. And the kids can record their own voice giving some information. So when you first launch the app, you have the option to take a photo, or there's a small gallery. If you go into the take a photo, they can either take a photo of themselves, or down in the bottom left corner is your camera. So if I click there, it's going to bring up all those photos that I have saved on my camera roll. So before I saved this photo of this giraffe, I want to select that photo because I'm doing a report on giraffes, and I want to use this photo of a giraffe. So once I pick what picture I'm using, I'm going to click the next button. And then I need to select where the mouth is, like what part of the picture is going to move. And you can see that that kind of is giving me that. So I'm going to click with my finger and drag for as long as the mouth is going to be in whatever angle. And you can kind of see it zooms in for you a little bit here. So I'm going to make that the mouth that's going to move. And now I have the microphone button. So when I click the microphone, it's going to give me a little countdown, and I can start recording. Giraffes are tall animals. When I'm done, I just hit that little pause button, and I can now either play that back, so I can hit the play button and listen to it, And then if I needed to re-record it, I can click that red microphone button again to re-record whatever I recorded. So I can click the next button, and then these are just kind of some more creative tools. So you can, add some different effects, black and white. There's some fun stickers, so depending on what your students are doing, if they wanted to put some, moose horns, and they can kind of use their fingers pinching in and out with 2 fingers to resize it. You rotate. If they decided they didn't want that, when they have it clicked, they can just click the trash can and it'll go away. So I could, maybe I decided I wanted my giraffe to have a hat on instead. There's some frames. So if I wanted to add a border, maybe I was doing a happy birthday message, so that student that was celebrating a birthday, I could create a little happy birthday message for them. And then I can also add text. So then so I could type, I can change the color, move that around, again, resize it. If I wanted a different font. And if I didn't want that, I would just hit the trash can. So once I'm done kind of customizing, I just click that next button again. And now I can kind of view that finished product. And you can see that where I drew that line, the giraffe's mouth was moving. It's kind of hard to see on the display, and then you could listen to your recording. Now when you're on this screen, next to that play button, if you have the trash can if you want to delete the whole project. Otherwise, there's the other icon on the right that has the little iPad symbol with an arrow. What this does is it exports the finished video to your camera roll. So just like I saved those screenshots and images before, now I have my video saved in that same place. And again, this is how your students could then submit their finished product to you as the teacher. They could upload that into Seesaw. So here was another example I had made before. I was talking about my summer vacation and wanting to play basketball. And so I made the basketball's mouth move. And again, because of the delay projecting the video, it's harder to see, but you can kind of see that the mouth of the basketball is moving a little bit there. So I'm going to pause here and see if there was any questions. Again, it's probably one of the simplest apps, but again, if you're just looking for something creative and fun, for kindergarten and first grade students to have a way of demonstrating their learning, they enjoy. So now I'm in the gallery, so these are some of the ones I've done in the past or examples. So, here's a happy birthday one. And, the cupcake is talking. Are you able to insert a song? You can't insert recorded audio, so you would have to have it playing while you're recording. So you'd have to have some kind of like other device hit play on that device when you were in or sing it. Yep. So.
Jennifer, is there a time is it like only a minute or two, or how long, how much time would you have to record?
It is not that long. I would have to double check the exact time, but I mean, it is designed to be shorter time, a minute or two. And you can see it. The longer I do the mouth here, the bigger the mouth moves. But yeah, this is where, when you're recording, you can sing a song, play a song, or, a piece of it.
Wendy, when I was having my first graders do it, we were doing mammal projects. So what I had them do was, depending on how long each student's was, because they do only give you a short amount of time, they might upload maybe two different ones into Seesaw as opposed to just one. And then I let them choose if they wanted to use the same photo or if they wanted to switch it and make it a different photo. So it almost kind of looked like a report, and they thought that was pretty cool. And then the last one they did was like a biography all about me page, where they took a picture of themselves and said, hi, my name's Molly. I live in Sheboygan with my brother and two sisters and mom and dad. So, I mean, possibilities with this is kind of endless too. I've seen teachers do pictures of themselves and then put, the goofy hats on and stuff like that, and do that as a morning message.
I know when I was using Seesaw this spring, there was only a certain amount of time. Like, you couldn't have a student read an entire book usually, because you'd have to pick like a favorite part or something, because you'd run out of time to have them record. I mean, they could record again and do it in more than one section, but.
Right. I think it's like a minute, 30 seconds. I think they give you like 90 seconds as your max, but I can't remember for sure.
Yeah.
It's not a very long period of time.
Yeah.
But, with kindergarten and first grade, you're probably not having them read too much anyway, but it would be a nice option for a fluency check. Here are two sentences. You can get a pretty good gauge of what their fluency is in that amount of time. It just options is something fun to spice things up a little bit, Any
other questions on ChatterKid? Then the one other thing I did want to show is I've been actually using Google Meet to present my screen. So I have Google Meet open on my computer and on my iPad. And because I wanted it to be able to record this video on my computer, which is why I have that. But then I also joined the Meet in the app on my iPad, so that I'm able to kind of share my screen. So just like you can share your computer screen, you can also share your iPad screen if you are in a Meet with your students and you're using your iPad. It'll be harder for me to show you, because as soon as I stop broadcasting, you won't be able to see my screen anymore. But the present option when you're in the Google Meet app is in the upper right corner, and I believe it's like the three dots. And then there's the option to present. You'll get a screen that kind of looks like this, the screen broadcast. It'll start. Once that screen broadcast has started, then when you leave the Meet app, it continues to broadcast or share your screen. So that's why you've been able to see everything that I've been doing. But as you notice, there is a slight delay, just because of the streaming, multiple devices. But this would be an option if you are doing a Google Meet with your students and you wanted to be able to show them something, especially if we're, all virtual at some point. You do have that ability to do that.